A cold winter afternoon hangs over New York City. The Hudson River cuts through the heart of the city as ferries move between Manhattan and New Jersey. Traffic fills the streets below, and thousands of people continue their daily routines, unaware that they are about to witness one of the most remarkable events in aviation history. At LaGuardia Airport, passengers board a routine flight to Charlotte, North Carolina. Some are returning home, others are traveling for work. Flight attendants welcome passengers aboard while the flight crew completes the final preparations for departure. Nothing appears unusual. The aircraft waiting at the gate is an Airbus A320, one of the most reliable passenger jets in the world. It has completed countless flights before and shows no signs of mechanical issues. For the 150 passengers and 5 crew members on board, this is expected to be just another ordinary journey. But within minutes of takeoff, that ordinary flight will become a battle for survival. This is the story of US Airways Flight 1549. January 15, 2009. Flight 1549 is scheduled to operate a routine domestic route from New York's LaGuardia Airport to Charlotte Douglas International Airport. The flight is expected to take approximately 2 hours. In command is Captain Chesley "Sully" Sullenberger. By 2009, Sully is one of the most experienced pilots in the airline. He has spent decades flying commercial aircraft and has accumulated nearly 20,000 flight hours throughout his career. Beside him sits First Officer Jeffrey Skiles. Although highly experienced as a pilot, Skiles is relatively new to the Airbus A320. Despite that, he possesses thousands of hours of flight experience and is fully qualified for the flight ahead. The two pilots have only recently begun flying together. Neither knows that they are about to face a situation unlike anything in their careers. The weather over New York is nearly perfect. Visibility extends for miles. Winds are light. There are no storms, no turbulence, and no warnings of any kind. At approximately 3:24 p.m., Flight 1549 receives clearance for departure. The Airbus begins rolling down runway 4. Its engines produce thousands of pounds of thrust as the aircraft accelerates rapidly. A few moments later, the nose rises. The wheels leave the ground. Flight 1549 is airborne. The Airbus climbs northward over the Bronx, following its assigned departure route. Inside the cabin, passengers settle into their seats as the city slowly falls away beneath them. In the cockpit, everything appears normal. Engine indications are stable. Flight instruments show no abnormalities. The aircraft is performing exactly as expected. For nearly 2 minutes, the flight continues without incident. Then, at an altitude of roughly 2,800 feet, something appears directly ahead. A large flock of Canada geese. These are not small birds. Adult Canada geese can weigh several kilograms each, making them among the most dangerous bird species for commercial aircraft. The flock is moving directly across the Airbus's flight path. There is no time to avoid them. The collision happens almost instantly. Several geese slam into the aircraft at high speed. Others disappear into both engines. Passengers hear a series of loud impacts. Inside the cockpit, the effects are immediate. Bright flashes erupt from the engines. The aircraft shudders violently. And then comes something far more alarming. Silence. The familiar roar of the engines begins to disappear. Engine indications rapidly fall. Power is being lost. Within seconds, both engines suffer severe damage. The Airbus continues climbing briefly, carried only by its remaining momentum. Then the climb stops. The aircraft reaches its highest altitude and begins to descend. Flight 1549 has just lost thrust from both engines over one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. The crew now faces a nightmare scenario that airline pilots rarely encounter: They have no functioning engines, no way to regain altitude, and only minutes to find a solution. The next decisions they make will determine whether 155 people survive, or whether New York City is about to witness a catastrophe. As the Airbus begins to descend, Captain Sullenberger and First Officer Skiles immediately understand the severity of the situation. This is not a partial engine failure. This is not an emergency that can be solved with a simple checklist. Both engines have lost nearly all thrust. The aircraft is now little more than a glider, and every second matters. Inside the cockpit, warning messages illuminate across the instrument panel. The crew works with intense focus. There is no panic, no hesitation. Years of training take over. While Skiles begins working through the emergency procedures, Sullenberger concentrates on flying the aircraft. His first priority is simple: keep the airplane under control. At an altitude of only a few thousand feet, there is no room for mistakes. The Airbus continues losing precious altitude as it moves south over New York. Below them lies one of the most densely populated urban areas in the world. Millions of people fill the streets, buildings, and highways beneath the aircraft's path. The crew quickly realizes that wherever this flight ends, it cannot end over the city. Just seconds after the bird strike, Sullenberger transmits an emergency call to air traffic control. The message is short and direct. The aircraft has struck birds. Both engines have lost thrust. They need immediate assistance. Controllers at LaGuardia react instantly. Their first solution is the most obvious one: return to the airport. Runway 13 is offered for an emergency landing. From the ground, the option seems possible. But inside the cockpit, the reality looks very different. Sullenberger quickly analyzes the situation. To reach LaGuardia, the aircraft would need to perform a sweeping turn while continuing to lose altitude. The maneuver would consume energy they simply do not have. Every passing second confirms the same conclusion: the airport is too far away. The controller then offers another possibility: Teterboro Airport in New Jersey. It is closer. Perhaps closer enough. For a brief moment, the option appears promising. The crew evaluates it carefully, but the numbers refuse to cooperate. Altitude is disappearing too quickly. The aircraft is descending faster than they can safely reach the runway. There is simply not enough energy left. The realization becomes unavoidable. No airport is within reach. The crew is running out of options. Ahead of them, the skyline of Manhattan grows larger. Skyscrapers rise from the city like walls of steel and glass. The aircraft cannot remain airborne much longer. Then Sullenberger's attention turns toward the Hudson River. Stretching between Manhattan and New Jersey, the river offers something no airport can provide: a long, open area free from buildings. A place where the aircraft can be put down without threatening people on the ground. The water is freezing. The risks are enormous. But compared to every other option, it offers the greatest chance of survival. The decision is made. Flight 1549 will attempt a ditching on the Hudson River. For passengers in the cabin, the situation is becoming increasingly unsettling. Many have noticed the unusual sounds. Others have sensed the aircraft descending. Some look out the windows and realize they are flying unusually low over the city. Yet few fully understand what is happening. In the cockpit, however, the crew knows exactly how little time remains. The aircraft is descending toward the river at high speed. There will be only one chance to get this right. A water landing is among the most difficult maneuvers a pilot can attempt. Strike the water too hard, and the aircraft may break apart. Approach too slowly, and the aircraft could stall before reaching the surface. Touchdown at the wrong angle, and the consequences could be catastrophic. Everything must be nearly perfect. As the Airbus continues southward, Sullenberger focuses entirely on the approach. His decades of experience are now being tested in a matter of minutes. The Hudson River grows larger in the windshield. The aircraft continues descending. Time is running out. Then, realizing the impact is unavoidable, Sullenberger makes a cabin announcement. The words are brief, but they instantly communicate the seriousness of the situation. Brace for impact. Throughout the cabin, flight attendants immediately spring into action. Commands echo through the aircraft. Passengers are instructed to assume the brace position. Some grip their seats. Others pray quietly. Many simply stare forward, waiting. Outside the windows, the river is rapidly approaching. The Airbus is moments away from attempting something few airline crews have ever been forced to do: land a powerless passenger jet on water. And now, there is no turning back. The Hudson River fills the windshield. There are no more alternatives. No airports. No second attempts. No opportunity to go round. Captain Sullenberger has one chance to put the Airbus down safely. The aircraft continues descending toward the icy water below. Inside the cockpit, both pilots remain completely focused. Every movement is deliberate. Every decision matters. The Airbus is now gliding silently over the river, passing thousands of people who have no idea what they are about to witness. Along the waterfront, commuters continue their day. Ferry crews operate their regular routes. Drivers cross bridges spanning the Hudson. None of them realize a passenger airliner is about to land on the water in front of them. Inside the cabin, tension is overwhelming. Passengers remain in the brace position. Flight attendants continue shouting commands. The aircraft is descending lower and lower. The surface of the river is now only seconds away. Sullenberger carefully adjusts the aircraft's attitude. Too steep, and the impact could tear the fuselage apart. Too shallow, and the aircraft could skip violently across the water. Everything depends on precision. The Airbus races toward the surface. The river appears closer with every passing moment. Then, impact. The lower fuselage slams into the Hudson River with tremendous force. A violent jolt travels throughout the aircraft. Passengers are thrown forward against their seatbelts. Loose objects fly through the cabin. The sound of water striking metal echoes from every direction. For a brief moment, nobody knows what will happen next. Will the aircraft break apart? Will it sink immediately? Will it remain intact? The Airbus continues sliding across the surface of the river. Water sprays high into the air behind it. The aircraft slows rapidly. Then finally, it comes to a stop. An eerie silence follows. Flight 1549 has survived the landing. But the emergency is far from over. The Hudson River is near freezing. The aircraft has suffered structural damage. Water immediately begins entering parts of the cabin. Every second now becomes a race against time. The evacuation begins. Flight attendants open the forward exits. Inflatable slides deploy and quickly transform into floating rafts. Passengers rush toward the exits. Some climb onto the wings through the overwing emergency exits. Others step directly onto the evacuation slides. The freezing winter air strikes them instantly. Many are not dressed for such conditions. Some are wearing only light clothing suitable for a short flight. Now they find themselves standing on the wings of a partially submerged airliner in the middle of an icy river. The water continues rising. Passengers crowd together as they wait for help. Inside the aircraft, the cabin crew performs heroically. Despite the chaos, they continue directing passengers towards safety. Every instruction is shouted clearly. Every available second is used to save lives. Meanwhile, something remarkable is happening outside. The ditching location was not random. The Hudson River is one of the busiest waterways in New York. Several ferries are already operating nearby. Their crews witness the impossible sight of an airliner floating in the river. Without hesitation, they change course. The nearest vessels race toward the aircraft. Within minutes, the first ferry arrives alongside the Airbus. Crew members begin pulling passengers from the wings and evacuation rafts. More ferries quickly follow. From every direction, rescue boats converge on the scene. Police vessels join the response. Fire department boats arrive shortly afterward. Emergency services mobilize across the city. What could have become a disaster is rapidly turning into one of the largest and fastest rescue operations New York has ever seen. Back inside the aircraft, Captain Sullenberger refuses to leave. While water continues entering the cabin, he walks through the aircraft one final time. Row by row. Section by section. Checking for anyone left behind. Only after confirming that every passenger and crew member has escaped does he make his way toward the exit. By then, rescue vessels surround the aircraft. Passengers are being transferred onto ferries and taken to safety. The freezing conditions make speed essential. Yet despite everything that has happened, an extraordinary outcome is beginning to emerge. One by one, the survivors are counted. The numbers continue rising. Then comes the confirmation. Every passenger survived. Every crew member survived. All 155 people aboard Flight 1549 are alive. Against overwhelming odds, a powerless Airbus A320 has landed on the Hudson River and everyone has escaped. What began as a routine flight, only minutes earlier, has become one of the most remarkable survival stories in aviation history. But investigators still face an important question. How did a modern airliner lose both engines at the same time? And could the aircraft have reached an airport instead of the river? The search for answers is only beginning. In the hours following the accident, investigators begin arriving at the scene. Across New York City, images of the floating Airbus dominate television screens and newspaper headlines. What many are already calling a miracle has become the focus of a massive aviation investigation. But for investigators, miracles are not explanations. Every event in aviation has a cause, and every cause can be traced. The National Transportation Safety Board, commonly known as the NTSB, launches a full investigation into Flight 1549. Their mission is straightforward. Determine exactly what happened, why it happened, and what can be learned from it. The aircraft is eventually recovered from the Hudson River and transported for detailed examination. Attention quickly turns toward the engines. The damage is extensive. Both engines show clear signs of a catastrophic bird strike. Investigators discover remains throughout critical sections of each power plant, confirming what the crew reported moments after the emergency began. The culprit is identified as Canada geese. Large migratory birds, capable of weighing several times more than the birds typically used during engine certification testing. Unlike smaller birds, these geese carried enough mass to severely damage both engines almost instantly. The findings explain the loss of thrust. But another debate is already taking place. Could Flight 1549 have made it back to an airport? Many people believe it could. After all, airports were nearby. LaGuardia was behind the aircraft. Teterboro Airport was ahead and to the west. Some critics argue that a runway might have been reachable. To answer the question, investigators turned to flight simulators. Experienced airline pilots are asked to recreate the emergency. In the first series of simulations, pilots are informed exactly what is about to happen. The bird strike occurs. The pilots react instantly. Without hesitation, they begin turning toward an airport. Several successfully reach a runway. At first glance, the results appear to challenge Sullenberger's decision. But investigators identify a major problem. Real pilots do not receive warnings about emergencies before they happen. In reality, crews need time to recognize the problem, understand the situation, and decide what action to take. That process takes precious seconds. The simulations are modified. This time, a realistic delay is introduced. Pilots must diagnose the emergency before reacting. The results change dramatically. Now, most aircraft fail to reach the airport. Some crash short of the runway. Others impact populated areas. The conclusion becomes clear. Under real-world conditions, returning to an airport was highly unlikely. The Hudson River was not merely an option. It was the safest available solution. The investigation also highlights several critical actions taken by the crew. One decision stands out above all others. Immediately after the bird strike, Captain Sullenberger started the aircraft's auxiliary power unit, or APU. Though small compared to the main engines, the APU continued supplying essential electrical power and helped preserve important flight control protections. That single action gave the crew valuable advantages during the descent. Investigators later describe it as one of the most important decisions of the entire event. First Officer Skiles also received significant praise. While Sullenberger concentrated on flying the aircraft, Skiles worked through emergency procedures under extraordinary pressure. With only minutes available, he managed to complete tasks that simulator crews often struggled to perform even when they knew the scenario in advance. The flight attendants are equally recognized. Their rapid response and clear evacuation commands helped move passengers out of the aircraft before conditions became more dangerous. The ferry crews who rushed toward the aircraft are also credited with saving lives. Without their immediate response, passengers exposed to freezing temperatures could have faced a very different outcome. As the investigation continues, one fact becomes increasingly clear. Flight 1549 was not saved by luck alone. Training mattered. Experience mattered. Teamwork mattered. Dozens of people, from the cockpit crew to the cabin crew, air traffic controllers, ferry captains, and emergency responders, played a role in the outcome. In May 2010, the NTSB releases its final report. The probable cause is determined to be the ingestion of large birds into both engines, resulting in a near-total loss of thrust. The report includes numerous safety recommendations aimed at improving bird strike prevention, pilot training, emergency procedures, and passenger safety. The lessons learned from Flight 1549 will influence aviation for years to come. But beyond the technical findings, the event leaves behind something even more powerful. A reminder of what preparation can achieve when seconds separate disaster from survival. For Captain Sullenberger and his crew, January 15, 2009, was not about performing a miracle. It was about relying on decades of training when the unthinkable became reality. And because they were ready, 155 people were given the chance to go home.